Welcome to Cigar Reviews and such. Tonight we're going to look at a few cigars from the A.J. Fernandez line. A.J. Fernandez is a renowned cigar blender, Cuban born, so he has the heritage and he is just well known throughout the cigar world. Not only does he have his only cigar making factory in Esteli, Nicaragua, but he also collaborates with several cigar companies. I've seen his name on H. Upman cigars, I've seen his name on Romeo and Julieta, and there are probably several others. There are just so many cigar brands, but he is the go-to. He's typically known in the industry for making what they refer to as spice bombs. So he does like to blend fuller body cigars. And he does have his share of Connecticut's in his lineup, but he is more known for his more spicy, full-bodied cigars. There are several brands that come out of his factory. Some of them have his name on them, like Latano, Diaz de Gloria, Man o' War, Ave Maria, Diesel, and but he really just has some excellent blends. We'll look at a few of his cigars. Tonight I don't have many in my humidor that have the A.J. Fernandez name on them, but the ones that I have, I'd be happy to show you and give you a little background of those cigars. And another thing that we'll do tonight is I have several triple torch flame lighters that I'll show you, just to show you a variety of torch flame lighters that you can use. Actually, these are all triple flame. So I'm going to show you some of the different varieties of the triple flame lighters as we do these cigar reviews. So I've got 5 cigars to look at tonight, so we'll take a look. Hopefully you enjoy this. Let's go to the first one. The first cigar is from the Ave Maria lineup, and it is the Ave Maria. So this is the flagship, the very first Ave Maria cigar in the line. There are several different cigars in the Ave Maria line. There is, I think there are 2 Connecticut's. One is called the Virtue, and then his line goes all the way to very dark Maduros, and this particular cigar is a Corona. So this is a 6-inch by 45 ring gauge, and as you may have heard me mention, that's one that I like as far as hand and mouth feel goes. This cigar is Ecuadorian Habano wrapper. It has Nicaraguan and Honduran filler and binder. It is, I would say, a medium, maybe medium to full-bodied, and just a really, really nice cigar. I'm not sure if this is 6-inch or 5.5 inch, but again, this is the Ave Maria. It comes in several different sizes, and I'm not sure how I got this one, if it was a gift or if I purchased a 5-pack or a single. But that's the Ave Maria. Let me give you a little better look at that beautiful band on it. And this is their flagship, their first one in the line. The second one that I have to show you is also an Ave Maria. This is a very different shape, as you can see. It's a much wider ring gauge. It's a 54 ring gauge. This is 5.7 inches long. So here I can take a look. Looks like they're about the same length. So I'm going to say this is 5.5 inch. So this is 5.7 inches long with a 54 ring gauge. And as you can see, it's the lion heart. A little different design on the label as the flagship, but very similar, beautiful artwork, as I've mentioned before. One of the things I really enjoy about cigars, it kind of, I guess, doesn't make you feel so bad when you spend a few bucks on these. This cigar is Ecuadorian sun-grown, so a little different wrapper than the flagship, and it has different binder. Well, it's a Nicaraguan binder, but it has Mexican and Brazilian filler, so that will give it a little more of a Maduro flavor and a little more strength to it than the flagship. So I'll move the flagship up to my humidor, and we'll showcase the Lionheart. Let's get to the third one that I have in my case. We've gotten off of the Ave Maria, and this is the Diaz de Gloria. And you can see this is the Diaz de Gloria Nicaraguan. Over here I have a box. I did not purchase that box. That was one that I grabbed off of the pile at a lounge that I went to. That is the Brazilian one, so you can see the difference. The Brazilian has more of a green, obviously, and I would assume that the label would also reflect the green. Brazilian has a Brazilian wrapper. And again, a lot of times the names of cigars are based on the wrapper. This one is Nicaraguan, and it is a Nicaraguan sun-grown wrapper. This cigar also has Nicaraguan binder and filler. So whenever you have a cigar that has all three of the leaves, the wrapper, the binder, and the filler, all from the same country, they call that a puro. So this is a Nicaraguan puro, the Diaz de Gloria. As you can see, this cigar is similar in size, a little shorter. This, I believe this is called the Robusto Extra. So it's a 5.5 inch Robusto. Oftentimes, as you might know, Robustos are 5 inches long. So this is called the Robusto Extra. So it's 5.5 inches long, and this is a 52 ring gauge. And you can see that this Lionheart is a little bigger ring gauge. So we'll move that up, and we'll showcase the Diaz, the Gloria. And before we get to our next AJ Fernandez cigars, I'd like to show you these triple torch lighters that I have. You can see this one is a, we'll call it a multifunction. It's got a punch on the bottom, so if you prefer not to cut your cigars, you can punch a hole there to open up the head of the cigar so that you can get a draw out of it. This is where you fill this lighter with butane, and right here it's got a little window showing you what's in the reservoir. Very nice lighter, very reliable. Basically it's a one push, so sometimes you have to open up the top, but this one will open it for you. And there you can see that triple flame. The nice thing about these triple flame and torch lighters is that they work in any condition. So if it's a little windy outside, they will light your cigar for you. Here's a Vertigo. This was a gift to me from a good friend of mine. And this is really nice because it's got a very large reservoir. You know, sometimes it's nice having the multi-function lighters, but typically because of all the extra accoutrement that they add to the lighter, the reservoir isn't always that big. But this one's got a nice big reservoir. This one, though, you have to flip it first, and then here's your triple flame. The third triple flame lighter I have is a little beefier, probably more of a tabletop lighter. It does stand up on its own. I like to lay it down because it's not too sturdy, because it's a little thinner, so if it gets knocked over, it's pretty loud. And this is a really nice lighter, and again, it's a multifunction lighter. This one, well, first of all, it's got a little curvature on the top, and that's actually to, voila, hold your cigar. So if you do want to use it in that way, you can use the top of this to hold your cigar. It also has another cigar holder below, so you can take your cigar and you can place it on there while you're smoking, which is a nice feature. To be honest, I've never used it, but it's a nice feature. And then it's got this poker, so if your cigar is not drawing well, you can pull this poker out, and you can, a lot of times, I shouldn't say a lot of times, but sometimes a cigar has a little bit of a heavy knot in here, and if you poke through perfectly, you will oftentimes release it and get a little better draw from your cigar. So it's a nice tool to have on hand in case that happens to you. It will make your cigar smoking experience better. And that's also how you fill this one. You have to pull that out to get to the reservoir so that you can fill it with butane. And it also has a punch on the bottom. So if all you had was this this lighter, you'd have a punch, you'd have some place to place your cigar, and you can light your cigar. This too you open first. It's a nice triple flame. It's got a great sound to it too, doesn't it? This one fades out nicely. So really nice lighter. And again, maybe more of a desk or a tabletop lighter rather than sticking it in your pocket, but you certainly can put it in your pocket. This one, I really like the function of this one, the way it sparks the flame. And as you can see, this has a V-cut built into it. So you would place your cigar in there and press down, and you'd get a nice V-cut. So that's really nice. But like I mentioned earlier, as a result of the V-cut, we've got a hole here. So that means that's a bunch of space that you can't fit butane. So the reservoir, as you can see, it's got a window. I don't know if this one has a window. Yeah, this one also has a reservoir window. So you know how much butane you have left. And like I said, I do like the function of this one. So you see that triple flame, it's a little tighter. And then this one, you close down. Kind of a classic light. Really, I would recommend all four of those, whichever one you feel would work best in your situation. But really excellent lighters, and price point on them, I think they're, you know, typically some maybe these two here might have been closer to $20, and these are probably closer to $10 in that range. But it's I have way too many lighters, as most of my cigar smoking friends attest to in their own collection. Just way too many, but we're men, we like fire. Actually, I was looking at the analytics of my channel, and I think it's 100% men. So if you're a woman watching my channel, please let me know. But I really appreciate all of you guys who come out and visit. I appreciate you taking your time to watch these videos, and the comments that I've been getting, very positive. So thanks. And I do appreciate the feedback. I've gotten some feedback about making some changes, and I'm wide open to it. I'm very new at this, and but I'm really enjoying doing it. Here is a Diesel Unlimited. So Diesel's not a big flashy band company. As you can see, it's got this little band on the bottom right near the foot. So typically when I'm smoking a cigar, I'll burn it, you know, as close to the band as possible before I start to take that band off, because the heat from the cigar kind of loosens up the glue. The Diesel, you pull it off before you light it, and you don't have to worry about removing the band as you're smoking. So I put these last two together because they are both built the same. This is called a Gordo. So this is a 60 ring gauge, and not only that, but this is a box pressed Gordo. So really more of a special cigar. As I mentioned, with the box press, it's not necessarily a designer shape. It's just pressed down, and it's really a nice feel when you have a box press. This one, though, as you can see, here's a 54 ring gauge, and this thing kind of dwarfs it. So Gordo is typically a Toro length cigar. So this is a 6-inch and 60 ring gauge, and this this Diesel Unlimited is Ecuadorian Habano, and it has Nicaraguan and Nicaraguan binder and Nicaraguan and Mexican filler. And diesels are in not in my experience, because I don't remember if I've smoked maybe one or two diesels in my experience, but I do know some guys that love diesels, and they have a little bit of a reputation for being, little fuller bodied cigars. I don't know the whole line, so, but these do come from the AJ Fernandez factory. So we'll put that in the showcase area. We'll move the Diaz, the Gloria up to the humidor, and let's get to our last AJ Fernandez cigar. As I mentioned, it's also a Gordo. It's also box pressed. And this is the Man O' War Ruination. Man O' War has a really cool logo, an old time helmet of a battle, and there's the Man O' War name, and it's the Ruination. And this is actually the 10th anniversary. This cigar only comes in a Gordo. So most other cigars have several different Vitola shapes and sizes, whether it's a Bellicosa, whether it's a Robusto, a Corona, a Toro, a Churchill. So there are a lot of different cigar sizes, but this special 10th anniversary Ruination only comes in a Gordo. So if you're like me and you don't love that shape, you typically wouldn't buy one, and I didn't actually buy this one. This was given to me, so I will smoke it at one point and maybe give you a review on it. You can see it's got a very dark, and by the way, I mentioned, when I'm mentioning these cigars from the AJ Fernandez lineup, he does a lot of blending with his own tobacco, which many of them do, but he really uses a lot of his own tobacco. So this cigar is an Ecuadorian sun-grown, and it is Nicaraguan binder and Nicaraguan and Honduran filler. So it's a really beefy cigar. It actually appears to be a little wider than the diesel. So it has more of a kind of a shape more like a rectangle, whereas the diesel looks like it's a pretty solid square. So it's not as wide as the diesel on the side. And again, these are just shapes that manufacturers use, and everyone's got their favorite shape and size of cigars that they smoke. That's, again, one of the wonderful things about the world of cigars. There's no right or wrong way of doing it. As you can see, these, even though they come from the same factory and have very similar blends in them, they have different shapes and different sizes. So we have a Corona here. We have a Bellicoso with a 54 ring gauge, a little larger than a Robusto in size. So between a Robusto and a Toro, I guess a little closer to Robusto. This one is a Robusto Extra. So it's 5.5 inches long instead of 5 inches. And then we have two Gordos, which are 6-inch by 60 ring gauge. This is a very small sampling of the AJ Fernandez lineup. For those of you that are new to cigars, for those of you that have been around, you know that his lineup is huge. One of the nice blends that I've I have had from the AJ Fernandez lineup is called the New World. And so in the New World lineup, he's got, I know he's got a Cameroon because I've had that one. He's got Maduro. And those are moderately priced cigars, typically right around $9-10. And I would recommend if you're in a shop and you see a AJ Fernandez New World, give it a try. Most of the guys that I know have had those, and for some of them, it's their go-to cigar. Again, I appreciate you visiting with me on cigar reviews and such, and I would like to always leave you with a word of encouragement. There is a place that God calls us to, and it's called Spirit and Truth. Jesus said that those that worship in this new covenant that we have after the death and resurrection of Christ would be a place of spirit and truth. He was having a conversation with a woman, and she was from a different sect than the Jews, and they had a disagreement about where worship would be done, in the temple, on the mountain. And Jesus said, in this new covenant, wherever you are, you can experience a place of spirit and truth. And I pray that you experience that. He wants to reveal his spirit and the truth in your life. So hopefully you experience that, and when you do, you will experience a peace that you might not even be able to understand or explain, because his peace is true. His peace is real. Thank you so much for visiting with me on cigar reviews and such. If you enjoyed this video, I'd appreciate a thumbs up. If you have a comment to leave, maybe about one of the cigars that I reviewed tonight, or about another AJ Fernandez cigar that you love, let me know. And I'd love for you to subscribe so that you'll know whenever I put a new video up. Hope to see you next time.